Alright, so this is going to be a tutorial for Lootbox. What Lootbox is basically you get a chest and you have to have a key, or depending on the config, you might not have to have a key to open it up. It's kind of like TF2 or CSGO, where you get random items and you lose your loot box and key, obviously, because you just used them. So we're going to go right ahead and get right into this. There's actually a lot of commands for this, so let me quickly start up my map server. There are other lootbox related plugins rather out there, such as mystery crates and loot crates. Mystery crates is a premium spigot plugin which costs, I believe, $10. Don't quote me on that. Mystery crates features stationary chests, whereas lootbox is all within one's inventory. Then you just open up that stationary chest with a key the player would have. And loot crates is, I believe, still single based item returns, which is you get a loot box, you get a key, and you only get one item back, which is determined by your config. So with that in mind, let's get into loot box. So the first thing is the help command. What this does is it returns the help, obviously, but the player would not see all of this. You only see the commands that you have permission nodes to. So I'm obviously off, so I have access to all of them. But most of these they won't have access to. Like, they won't be worrying about the list, the editor, the give command, the create command. None of that will be on the screen. Then we also have the loot box reload command, which reloads the config.yml, which I should open up quickly. Configuration is a little bit tougher than most of my other plugins, so I'll make sure to go over this. I just have a lot of random spammed boxes I tried to open up, which they work, so that's nice. Anyways, then we're going to go into the give command. So, give command is the main way to give a player chests, or loot boxes rather. It's give, username, and then whether it's a key or a loot box, and then it will be the name of the key or loot box. So, let's do loot box, give me a loot box, and I believe we have common crates. I'm not sure if this exists. No, it doesn't. Okay. Give me. Here, hold on. Alright, so what I've done is I went ahead and copied the default config from the dev page. I'm thinking of putting that into 1.4.1 or 0.5. I'm not sure yet. Anyways, I put that into our config.yml, so we should be good to go. Actually, I've got to reload this quickly. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to give myself common crate. I'm almost positive that was supplied with default config. Let's hope so. Yes, it was. Okay. So now that we have this crate, I think next on the agenda is the preview command. So what this does, it gives them a preview of what they can get from this loot box. Right here you can see 10% chance of gold, iron, coal. There's a lot of random stuff in this box, and this is all what they could get. So we can go ahead and open this, and I'm bad at games. Anyways, next is the keys. So what this does, it shows you, give myself a crate here, gives you a list of the keys that can be used to open up this loot box. A loot box can be opened up by more than one key. Say that you want just a regular key for a common crate, and you want a global key that could open up any crate, that could be applied. So common crate doesn't require any keys, so let's go and give myself a rare crate. Box. Also there's a lot of shorthand commands. So this could be loot box or just box, doesn't really matter. You'll just find them as you go. Rare crate. As you can see here, when we do loot box keys, it can either be opened up with a rare key or a global key. So, if I try and open up without a key, it won't work. It requires a key to open. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a key, like so, and to open it up. Okay. And same with the keys. If I give myself a key again, it shows you what loot boxes can be opened with this key. So loot box, yeah, that's right. Loot boxes. Can open up the rare crate. If we give myself the global key, it should show 2 or 3. I'm not sure how many are in here. Yep, there's only 2. Legendary and rare. And those are usually commands given to the player so they know what they can open up with. Next is the list command. There's several arguments to this. If I go to lootbox help, there's the list permissions, loot boxes, and keys. So if I do lootbox list permissions, this just shows all the regular commands and the nodes, so you don't have to cross-reference the dev page all the time. So that's pretty self-explanatory right there. Then we also have list keys. This shows all the keys and their permissions. And same with loot boxes. That shows the loot boxes and their permissions. Like so. Alright, let's go on to the editor. The editor supplies a name, lore, and a chance send item, depending on what you put in. So let's take some glass right here. If we want to give it a name, we just do lootbox space editor. Then what we want to change its name, and this allows colors too. So we could do glass. I don't know what goes after penguins. Why not? Misspelled. It has to be misspelled. That's a big point there. Lootbox editor lore is our next one. And this adds a line of lore to the item. So I don't know what we want. This is glass. That'll add a line of lore like that. And it doesn't have to have color either. I'm bad at typing. There we go. That also adds a little color effect that's on default lore. And the chance. That's also just a line of lore. It's really not needed for just naming items. It's more or less for creating lootbox itself, which we'll get to later. So we'll do lootbox editor chance, and this is 1 to 99. So let's give it 76. So that just adds a 76% chance. Alright. Let's go on to info. The info command is like discern if you ever used the previous version of lootbox. I mean yeah, it was lootbox 1.3 and earlier. It's just a discern info, so it gives you the item ID, the name, and its lore. You'll need some of this if you do manual configuration. So you can see down here, you use item IDs as of now. You don't use the names. And same with enchantment IDs. You use the enchantment IDs, not the names. I'll provide links to those in the description. Otherwise, you can just enchant it too. I can't enchant this item, obviously. So if we get a sword, and we enchant this with sharpness 6, why not? Oh, I don't have unsafe enchantments on. Okay, 4. Then they also show the enchantment and its ID. That's its ID right here, so it'd be 16:4 for a sharpness 4 diamond sword. So let's go ahead and clear that. Now we get on to the fun part, the create command. So the create command requires, it's either lootbox create or it's lootbox create no key. But obviously it won't work right now because, well, actually, excuse me, that should be like that if you don't want a key for a lootbox. But we do. So we're going to create a lootbox right now. So we need the chest item and the tripwire hook. You can change these in the config. It's at the top in the options, I believe. Yeah, right here. By default, it's just the chest and the tripwire hook. You can make an ender chest, which is pretty neat, but actually you can make anything. You can make it pink dye if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter. But what does matter is that the chests and the tripwire hook both have to have name and lore. That's what everything is based off of. If a chest has the same name and lore, it's considered a loot box by the plugin. So we're going to go ahead and use the editor command to give it name and lore. So we're going to call it what's we going to call it? Going to make it winter offensive crate, rather. There we go. So it adds name to it, and it has to have lore. I don't know. And 7. I don't know, I just like the gray color. Let's go with this. This is a lure. Why not? And obviously it's going to have all this extra info on here because I'm in creative mode. So if I just switch out, it'll just have that. Okay, so we have name and lore for this, so it's ready to be created, and we just need the name and lore for the key. So lootbox, name, let's make this one gray. Winter, offensive key. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, as of now you can only have one color for the name of an item. So this one will just be gray. You couldn't have like a gold here, that wouldn't work. So you have to have it just like that. Oops, I forgot the editor right before that. There we go. And I dropped it. Editor, lore, and to available for purchase. And we can do second line or third, however many you want. Let's add another one. Contact and administrator. Okay, so now we have that. So now we get to add the items. This is what will appear in the player's inventory. So if we wanted 64 iron ore, it could just be like that. As long as we're on the CSGO, let's add a knife to it. Because we're going to make this a knife by renaming it, and I can also have 16 TNT or some cookies. Why not? Alright, so this is what we want in our loot box. So this I'm actually not even going to bother adding anything to it. It's fine just by itself. But we want to have it have a chance. So let's give it a chance of say 75. Let's make it a pretty high chance. The knife has to be named. So loot box, editor, name, and 7 knife. Loot box, editor, lore, and 6 exceedingly rare item. Loot box, editor, lore, boom. And the cookies, I don't know. Why not? Just have them blank. And we'll have those. Oh, I forgot to set the chance on these. I should have a chance of 25. Forgot the editor as usual. There we go. This will have a chance of 40. Forgot the chance now, of course. And this will have a chance of 90. Oh, actually no, that'll mess with it. Let's forget the cookies. Who likes cookies anyways? Screw. Okay, so now we've got our 3 items that they have a chance of. So when we create this, it'll give this 75%, 25, and 40%. So this looks alright. It's got lore, name, all that fun stuff. Let's create it. Create. There. Now it's done. So if we do loot box, list loot boxes, we should see it up on the side. Here it is. Right there. So we can go ahead and give it to ourselves. Of course, we had to make it a really long name. It's always fun to retype. Box, winter, offensive crate. And the key, just like that, it's all been created. Now that would be all fine and dandy right there if that's all we wanted. So let's go ahead and preview it. So as you can see, 75%, 25%, all of that fun stuff. So this has the possibility, however small, that the user could get all 3 items, they could get 2 items, 1 item, or none items. So if we open it up, let's see, actually let's, just in case you get nothing, just to make sure you know that works. Let's go ahead and open one up. Jeez. Okay, there. Open this up. There we go. You see, I got 2. I got extremely lucky or whatever. So I want this to only have 1 item. So I'm going to go over to the config right now. I don't know if this is reloaded. It hasn't. Okay. So, just going to close out of this quickly. Reload. There we go. And we might as well say that it has an item too. You can only get one item rather. So, and you can. I'm just editing the lore right now via the config. Oh, you can do this if you think you're familiar enough with it. Can only get one item from this crate. Okay. So then to actually, while we're at it, why we're not have it broadcast something? So we're going to have it execute commands, and this is a list. This is a indented. Okay. So this is a list, so it's going to be bulleted form because you have it execute multiple commands, and it's a string. So we're going to go like that. Broadcast. Let's go with and 8 player name. That just is replaced by the actual player name. And 7 has opened up a crate. Fun. Requires key? Yes, it does. Down here. Requires that key. And what else do we? Oh yeah, min and max items. So what this does is means you can only get this many items and you can only get up to this many items. So the min items, we want to make sure that they at least have one. Rather up here. And that's a number, so it doesn't go in parentheses. And max items, go on, so you can have 2. So you can never get all 3 items. I'd be lucky if I got 2. So we're gonna go ahead and save. That's in red. Save that and reload it, and we should be good. So if we go ahead and those are obsolete now because I changed the name in lore rather. Find the box. Okay. So you can see we changed the lore on that. Let's get some more of this. More of that. Just in case. Why not? Okay. See? Got a maximum of 2. Maybe we'll get 1 now. Because we always have to get at least 1. Wow. Yeah, there we go. Now we only got 1. Which, I believe that was the most common one. Let's see. Yeah, it was. Never get the knife. Never. Alright. So that's basically about it. I think I covered everything. Yeah, you can have all these in here. This is just the enchantment IDs. The chance would go anywhere in here. It doesn't matter where the stuff goes, as long as it's labeled properly, and there's no spaces. So if you wanted to give it a name, make sure that you use underline like that right there. Not a space. You have to use underline. And same with lore. If you want to give it lore, it has to be underlined. And if you want to break a line, it's just that. And then whatever. So that's basically about it. Hopefully this tutorial went alright for you and I didn't skip over anything.